Hey, it's Jag. Don't take that bet.
Yeah.
At the end of my last video, I ended it with a text screen basically saying, is anybody taking any bets on me finishing this build by the GGBO deadline? Don't take that bet. So today is September 23rd. It's Friday. I have one day a week dedicated to shooting, editing, and posting my videos, and that's Friday. For the editing and whatnot, I'm lucky enough to be able to sneak some of that in during evenings, and usually I get a little bit done on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. This video is going to be shot and edited for release for next Friday, which would be September 30th. If you're watching this as it just came out, it's September 30th. So that means tomorrow is the GGBO deadline. I'm definitely not going to make the deadline. I'm not disappointed by that. When I started on this way back in April, I thought there was a good chance I could get this done by the October 1st deadline, especially when I was doing it as a kit build. Originally, I was going to use a kit neck and just build the body. And that, I could have got all of that done by the deadline. But a few people chimed in and said, go ahead and try and make the neck. And I thought, yeah, why not? I've done most of the work that I'm doing on the body before. I have reshaped bodies, and I've made, I think, 2 bodies before this. So I know how to route pickups and control cavities and all of that. And the work I did to recover butch from some of my previous butchering is not much different than actually making a body as well. So I was comfortable with that, but the neck was the part I hadn't done before. And I'm really happy to be doing that neck. This whole thing is a learning experience for me. So all that said, I did decide to do this whole guitar from scratch. And there are probably along the way a few things I probably didn't really need to do when I did them. Organizing the shop, although I think at the end of the day, that probably has helped me a lot more than if I hadn't done it. It's been really easy to work in here. I can move things around as I need them. It's turned out the table saw basically just stays there, and I often will do work on there, or I'll move this table over here when I'm doing work, and I have this spot here. Maybe I didn't need to move those cabinets and organize and do all of that, but I really feel like this has actually helped me work quicker. So I think that's been a help. The other thing was making the templates. I probably could have bought templates, and that would have saved me a lot of time. I think I spent quite a few episodes just making my neck templates. Again, like I say, it's a learning experience. I wanted to know how to do that. So I'm glad that I did that as well. Moving forward from that, I am fairly far along on the neck and body. The neck is basically there except for carving the profile and doing the final sanding and the frets and things. Actually, there's still a lot of what I would consider little things to do. I look at this and I go, I'm really far along, and then I go, oh yeah, I need to do that, I need to do that, I need to do that. So yes, the neck still needs to be, I need to double check that it's still straight, and probably do a little bit of sanding on that fingerboard, then put the frets in, and then carve the profile and do final sanding. So the neck is really close. The body is really close too. I have done the routes for the pickup cavities and the control cavity. And at the end of my last video, I made the templates for the toggle switch and for the output jack cup. And I got this output jack template actually set on the guitar and ready for that routing. So today what I'm hoping to do is get that route for the output jack cup done, and the routing for the toggle switch done. I'm actually hoping there will be enough time today to also finalize the neck pocket depth. We'll see how that goes. So basically that's the short synopsis of where I am in the GGBO build. I will be continuing this GGBO build, of course. Why start it if you're not going to finish it? I'm hoping that it will be done by the end of October. We'll see how that goes. It's also starting to get pretty cold here, so if I don't get the body to the point where I can do the finish on it soon, I'm going to have some issues because I don't want to do that finishing in the house. I'm doing true oil. I just don't want that smell through the whole house. I like the smell, but it's probably imposing for everybody else. So I do need to get this body so it's finished and get the finish on there and it's ready to go. So my priority now is getting this body. The neck will be, as I said, linseed oil, boiled linseed oil finish. And that I can do in the house if it gets too cold to do out here. At any rate, that's where we are. Not disappointed that I won't get this done by the deadline. I will be continuing this, as I say. The other thing is, for the next week or so, I'm not going to be able to do any work out here. I'm basically not going to be able to get back out in this shop to work on the guitar until sometime after the deadline, probably October 6th, I think that's a Friday. I will be able to get back out here working on the guitar. So I'm not even sure I'm going to have a video out now after this one until maybe the second Friday in October. Hopefully I can do something on the first Friday, and at least that continues with me having a video every week. Let's get to what I need to do. So I'll just summarize where I was at the last video, at the end of the last video, because I didn't get to finish what I was working on. So in the last video, I did make the template for the output jack cup. I also now have hogged out most of that material, and I just need to chisel this out, and then I will route that. Also in the last video, I did make the templates for the toggle switch. I didn't show a lot of that. I showed some of that, but here's how they turned out. This will be the template for the cover. I kept the plug that I cut out. I used a hole saw to make that, and I kept the plug just in case, you know, for some reason it would be tight enough to use for the cover, but it's definitely not. So what I'm going to do, not today, but when I can get back to it, I will take this template, put it on the walnut I'm going to use for the covers, trace that, and I will cut it on my scroll saw very carefully. I want to get that as close to perfectly round as possible, but I will be doing that cover by hand. The other thing that I did was, of course, make the template for the actual inner route, the actual cavity of the switch. And again, I used a hole saw just to score around here, and then I put lines 120 degrees apart and drew in circles. I think those are about 9.5 millimeter, and then I cut for the tabs for magnets or screws, whichever I decide to use in there. I do think I have a little bit of cleanup still to do here, but not much. Now, one thing that I did learn, if you were watching when I did this, the control cavity, what I did was I routed for the cover and the lip for the cover first, and then I routed the actual control cavity. I know now that that's the opposite way I should do it. It would have been a lot easier to actually route the actual control cavity first and then put the template on for the cover and just route that lip. So that will be what I do with that, with the toggle switch. But as I say, I'm ready to do the output jack cup now, so we'll get started on that. When I did the routing for the neck pocket, and I had that little blowout because the router lock slipped and it came up, I thought I cleaned that well, but I noticed when I was doing either one of the pickup cavities or it might have been the control cavity, that even though I had locked it when it went down, it started to creep up. I felt that, and I stopped right away and made sure it was locked tight before I continued on. I remembered that when I was just getting ready to do this and starting today, and I thought, well, I would take another look at this, and I actually took the whole mechanism right apart because it felt a little loose to me, and I hadn't really ever looked too closely at how this works, but basically the lever turns a bolt that goes against the column here and keeps the router from moving up or down. And the way it was set on there, it would engage when the lock was about here, but it wasn't engaged too tight, and so that's about as far as you can push with your thumb, and you feel the resistance and you think it's locked, but it wasn't. So I took this off. I set the handle so that it's a little more back this way, so that it actually locks now quite tightly when this is horizontal. So hopefully I won't have that issue again. Okay, so we're at 1.25 inches there, just a little less than that, but close enough. And I'm just going to check and see that this cup will fit in here. It definitely does. One thing that I did to make sure that this would fit in right, I have seen mostly on cheap Strat copies and stuff where the jack actually, the end of the jack actually ends up bottoming out in the cavity, or pushing against the back wall of the cavity, and you can have a lot of problems plugging your guitar in and unplugging it and having it stay in there. So what I did for this jack, to make sure that it would fit while I was making the template and whatnot, I put an extra nut and washer in there to shift the whole jack back about 1/16 of an inch or so. Now that this is fitting in there right, I will take that extra washer and nut off of there, and the jack should fit a little bit more forward, so I shouldn't have any issues. So I have this big old honkin' ugly brass jack. This thing is years old. Oh, and it's bent too. But it should work to just to test this. It fits in perfectly. The jack is lined up to the holes where it's going to mount. No problem plugging that in. I have a little bit of forwards and backwards wiggle room, so we're good to go there. Another thing that I should have done before I routed the control cavity was drilled the holes for the pots to their final size before I routed the cavity. That way I would have avoided any potential for tear out drilling them now. So I'm going to drill the hole for the toggle switch and the pots right now. The toggle switch, I haven't routed that cavity yet, so I'm just going to drill about 1/4 inch in. What I'll do for the two control pots is I'll just find a piece of scrap wood and put it under there to support the back while I'm drilling it out. I'm going to use my brad point bits for that. I have a kind of a cheap set. It's very complete, but it's cheap. And the three largest bits, the 15/32, 31/64, and 1/2, all wobble. They're not straight. So they work well enough for most things, and I need actually the 15/32 for the toggle switch, but I'm worried that that wobble is actually going to make that hole a little bigger than I want. So I'm going to go one size under on that, the 29/64, which is probably close enough, but if I need to, I can hone that out a little bit when I go to put the toggle switch in. Of course, the control cavity is already done, so I will use a 5/16 inch brad point for that. And this cheap set, I've checked them all. From the 29/64 all the way down to the 1/8, they're all really straight. They're actually really good. I only noticed just now when I went to put in that bit that the bigger ones are wobbly. So probably a better set of those is in the cards at some point, but I'm good for now. Okay, well that turned out well. The pots and toggle switch, it looks like the toggle switch will fit just fine in that hole, and the pots fit perfectly. So now it's on to routing that cavity for the toggle switch. I have a little bit of sanding still to do on the template for the main cavity. So I'm just going to clean that up a little bit, and then we'll get to the routing.
Open sesame!
Well, that's all the cavities and all the cavity cover routing done. So I've got the control cavity and the lip for its cover. I've got the toggle switch cavity and the lip for its cover. Got the pickups routed, and the hole for the output jack cup. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm having a pretty good router day today, so I think I will route this neck pocket to the final depth. So I'm using my very unscientific method to decide how deep I want the neck pocket to be. I do have the neck lightly clamped in here now, and I've got the bridge on. And I measured the top of the fingerboard from the body at the 22nd fret, or sorry, at the 21st fret. And it's about 9 mil above the body on the high E and low E side. So then I measured the beast, and it's about 7 mil there. The next thing that I did was I took a couple of, this is the very unscientific part, I had these panel nails. They're about 2 mil thick. My frets, I measured them, they're about 1.7 mil. So I took a couple of those panel nails and just taped them over the slot for the first fret, and for whatever fret this is up here, about the 16th fret. Then put my straight edge across that to where the saddle is. I've adjusted the saddle into its the middle of its travel up and down. And it looked like I was about 3.5-ish mil from the bottom of the saddle. Now, of course, there's going to be a string there. So the long and short of it is that seemed to indicate to me that I needed to have the neck sit in about 2 mil deeper as well. So without getting really overblown about this, I am going to route the neck pocket 2 mil deeper. I may have to go a little more when we get closer to done. I am erring on the side of leaving it a little higher as opposed to a little lower. I think 2 mil is what I'm going with. It seems to sort of agree with the way that the beast is set up. And it also seemed to agree, like I said, when I put these couple of nails in here and put my straight edge across. Okay, well, I did some closer measuring, and I have settled on taking the neck pocket down by about 2.5 mil. 2 mil seemed pretty close. 2.5 mil actually seems to be almost bang on. I'm tempted to go 3 mil, but I don't want to go too far. So I'm going to go down 2.5 mil. The other thing that I had a concern about was I want to use the neck pocket template, my master template again, to do this routing, just because I have that spot here that's unsupported. I've taken out that little sliver of wood there. And also when I get to the top of the neck here, I don't trust myself to go straight enough, and I wouldn't want to kind of go around a corner and round my neck pocket. So I wanted to use my template again. I was most concerned about getting it lined up as perfectly as I could with the pocket that's there right now. I started thinking about that, and then I started thinking, well, why can't I just put the template in the same way I would do it if I just had a neck and had no template, putting a scrap piece of wood on either side and at the bottom. So that's what I did. I got this neck pocket template put on here. I got it lined up absolutely perfectly. You can't even feel it. And then I put masking tape and super glued a couple, 3 pieces of scrap wood down. And now I can take the template out, put the tape on it, stick it down, and it will be perfectly lined up. And then I can take that extra 2.5 mil off. So I will get that going, and we're going to get to the routing. And that's probably all I'm going to have time for today. I don't know how long it's been that it took me to learn this, but to wipe the tip on this clean before I put the lid on. I have glued so many lids on and gone through so many replacement lids. So making sure to wipe that down. If you haven't thought of that, do that. It will save you lids down the road. That's worked out really well. I'm between 6.5 and 7 mil. I'm about 7 mil at the 21st fret on the high E side, and I'm at 6.5 at the 21st fret on the low E side. And if you recall, I had a little bit of fall away there. So that all should work out really well. If I end up sanding out that fall away, my total depth here will be 6 mil, and I think that's still plenty good for the bridge. It looks about right to me, so happy to have gone with that. That's it for the last video before the deadline. Didn't make the deadline. Like I say, I'm fine with that. I'd rather take my time and get this right. But I am far enough along that I can let you guys have a sneak peek of what it will look like when it's done. So I've laid it out here, neck, pickups, bridge, everything. So this gives you an idea of what the final guitar will look like. Obviously, I still have a lot to do. I need to do the arm carve and belly carve. I need to take this little bit of extra wood off the side of the neck pocket here. and then finish the body. I still have to fret the neck, shape the back of the neck, do the tuning machines, and do finish on the neck, and various other things, shape the heel and whatnot. So I've got enough jobs to do. I am still hoping that I will get this done by the end of October or thereabouts. So, like I say, not really disappointed I didn't make the end of the GGBO deadline. This one has been a real learning experience for me, and I've already come up with a plan for what I want to do for GGBO next year. And I learned a lot from doing this to this point, and I have more to learn over the next weeks and even over the winter. But next year, I'll be able to be a lot more prepared. I know what it takes now. And I have kind of a bit of a unique idea of what I want to do. I had thought about doing it when I was doing this GGBO, but it was a little more involved than I thought I could take. Now that I know what it's going to take to build the guitar, I know what I'm doing next year. So, as I say, the build will continue going. So please stick around. I'd like for you all to see this when it's done. And I will demo it, and I will do a super edit. I've got a lot of videos to edit for that, but I will follow through on all the commitments for the build. So, like always, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Share this video. Comments. Give me comments, especially now that for me on this guitar, it's coming down to the true home stretch. Things you see or don't see that I should be doing and taking care of. And that camera just went down, so he's done too. So again, thanks for watching, and until the next video, we'll see you.